Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for July 12th through 16th. How are you doing? Well, we are having a beautiful conjunction, if you can see it, in the sky. And of course, we know it's still affecting us, even if we can't see it. Mars and Venus coming together in the sign of Leo, speaking to getting over all of the stories of divide and conquer. Everything where this whole story and agenda has pit us against ourselves and each other. It's game over because now we see through the programming. This is exactly the energy. We're having a really interesting time where all of 2021 pretty much has been square after square after square. And the backdrop being that Saturn square Uranus, really pushing us into the changes that need to happen in order to move over into this Aquarian age. But this transit has come off now. They're 3 degrees apart, going to 4 degrees apart. And so we are not having any major squares or oppositions, the tension transits, and it's almost like you don't even know what to do with ourselves. And then we have this epic coming together, like on center stage of Venus and Mars in the sky, the brand new crescent moon soon to join, visible tonight or tomorrow night. And so it's a new start for humanity with out of the divide and conquer agenda and into the more is more. In fact, this is that Saturn square Uranus, Uranus and Taurus, that revolution of wealth, revolution of self-worth. And then we have that question, is this the only thing that's kept humanity back? The thinking that, because we're coming to see more and more this astrology, the events of the world, it's becoming more and more clear that humanity has been deliberately kept from knowing and expressing their full potential. And this is totally in alignment with the advanced technologies that have been held from us and yet are being used against us to control us. But what if we, in our own field, our own energetic field, as advanced souls, with a soul memory of a full expression of the light body, already having gone through spiritual ascension, what if we start remembering that and realize that the technology we have available in our own energetic field is absolutely in alignment with the divine timeline, the way? This is a huge energy right now. Is how do we get out of our own way without rolling over and playing dead? Humanity's been immobilized for thousands of years through trauma programming. Now, this is interesting because Mercury has moved over into Cancer today. And that means the whole retrograde Gemini energy is totally over, out of square with Neptune, moving over into a whole new energy. But Mercury in Cancer, it's like we've got some serious grief and emotions and recapitulation. It's like we've had this big psychic shifting, recalibrating, adjustment period of time. And now it's like, what does this mean? And we've got to feel into it, feel the emotions, move these energies in order to get into that clarity. The clarity that's trying to come is your role in the new paradigm, and not really even the new paradigm, the shifting time. And with Mercury having, moving today over into Cancer, puts it in exact trine for today and tomorrow with Jupiter. And we'll be feeling that the next 3 days or so. Jupiter, Mercury at the beginning degrees of Cancer, coming out of that crazy retrograde, who knows what was going on there, and square Neptune, and then trine with Jupiter at the beginning degrees of Pisces. Now, Jupiter is retrograde, but still in Pisces, only made it to 2 degrees, now at 1 degree. Now, this is an initiatory energy. Jupiter wants to expand. In Pisces, the very beginning, it's expanding into spiritual connection. So what's gone right along with the whole agenda over thousands of years to make sure we don't know of our potential and humanity doesn't realize that they have the power you know? What's also gone along with that is this lower technological grid. As the energies increase, if you look through history, there is deliberate attack on humanity at times when, like, say, those greater conjunction times and great conjunction times when Jupiter and Saturn come together. Huge invitation back into that divine timeline, the original plan. And the control energies seek to take those very powerful spiritual moments and try to create trauma and drama. But guess what? It's not working anymore, because humanity's collective consciousness is what creates our reality. And we've had some really bad software, all based on the divide and conquer, play small. I was thinking about how hard it's been for supernova souls throughout history, but particularly in this time, a big bloom of this energy, all having to do with the Piscean age, but about having to know that there's solutions and having to sit back and watch humanity be tortured again and again. This is secondary abuse, and often more damaging psychologically than the primary abuser, because that's like very clear. But the secondary abuse happens when somebody cannot do anything about the primary abuse, and they have to watch it happen. And this is exactly why, a big part of the reason why supernova souls are so held back, so frustrated, so hurting right now, because it's just this in your face, we're going to just mess up everything. And there's healing. You've got ways to help. There's something inside of you more, but you just have to sit and watch on the sidelines. It's torture. It's mind control. It's brainwashing. And it all has to do with one thing. And it's all over when we realize our potential and our power and start moving into that. That's this Venus-Mars conjunction. It's like, you guys, you're starlight. You're not slaves. You don't have to stay in this paradigm. Your power is the power. And this is actually what's happening. The consciousness of humanity is evolving, no matter what they try to do. And then our consciousness can't create, it just isn't viable to create the trauma and drama so much. They have to make it up, use crisis actors. And it's not working. Nobody's buying into it anymore. And so it's a really powerful energy, because as our evolution has expanded in consciousness, the control energy is doing more and more to hold that back. But see that dynamic? It only gets stronger, and nothing can stop it. We've come to a point in our evolution that we cannot be held back anymore. And so, whoa, is that really happening? Or are we just going to have to sit here and know the truth and have to watch people who are asleep continue to be? And this is the hardest part, because this is this divergent, weird, like down the rabbit hole feeling where you start to become aware of all these negative things that are being done to us, like total control, fascist control, right? And poisoning us and tricking us into asking for this poison, saying, yes, please save me from this, because I have no power myself. Save me from something that has a 99% survival rate. Please, just whatever. I'll take it. I'll do it. Whatever you want me to do, right? And it's like, so it's really, really hard for the supernova soul. And just go ahead and validate this process. The more awake you are right now, the more you realize the deep truths of what's going on in the world, the more, of course, there's that deeper layer of spiritual revolution that's coming, and you're a part of that. What is your role there? But in this period of time, it's been excruciatingly painful. The more awake you are, the harder it is to watch, and it's not just a room of sleeping people. It's a room of sleeping people that are being made into robots, or who knows what's going on, poisoned continually in every area of life. We better not let you have any sun. We better not let you have any fresh air. We better put all your no organic food, just GMO central. And the most painful thing is seeing the sheeple go along with the program and just prance right along to the end of the edge of that cliff and just fall off. And here you are, this massively powerful soul, and you know this inside, and you're stuck here and you can't do anything about it. But that's a delusion. And we're in this time where all delusions are falling away. No more deception. No more lies. We're done with that Mercury square Neptune. And now it's about we're having very beautiful trine with that Mercury trine Jupiter, Mercury at the very beginning of Cancer, trine Jupiter at the very beginning of Pisces. We also have the sun coming into trine. We're feeling that starting tomorrow. The sun in Cancer and trine to Neptune in Pisces. Now, Cancer is about mothering and nurturing and supporting life, the healing and the compassion. And Pisces is this oneness connection to the whole, but that oneness principle was used to keep humanity down in the whole mind control and delusionary reality. And it all comes down to one simple concept, though. Everything that the control energies back to Atlantean time have done to hold back this evolution is one concept. And supernova souls, no wonder it's been so hard for you, because you live and breathe this truth. If you don't know it, you feel it. If you don't even feel it, it's still within you. And this is that you've got the power. We've got the power. Humanity has the power. There is no hierarchical form in this reality than a human in soul, in a body, aware that it's God consciousness. So, and then advanced souls, supernova souls, you've had experiences already with spiritual ascension. You've worked with these higher technologies in past lives, and you know this is within you. So the whole agenda is about making sure that you don't know who you are, that humanity doesn't know who it is. So guess what, supernova? That makes you here to be that living, breathing example and lead humanity into its full potential. And I can't think of a better, or just this whole astrology story that's been playing out, but with Venus and Mars coming together after the retrogrades last year and the 2020 fiasco, crazy world we've been living in. And now these two lights, our masculine, our feminine, coming together in the sign of Leo, which is about shining like the sun, expressing your God self, claiming back joy, living, childlike wonder, and that creative expression. And so here we have this permission. It's like the mother is inviting the father to shine, and the father is holding up the mother in her expression. And it's like there's no more dark and light. It's all light. Everything is made from the one source. And the way we got here and how we got tricked was we were persecuted, traumatized, and disconnected from this very power. So the more access you had to this power, the more experience you have with this life force energy, fully expressed in our higher technological abilities, the light body, ability to transmute and transfigure, work with elemental forces. The more experience you have in that, the more disconnected and persecuted you were in these past lives. Now we got to climb ourselves out of the rubble and get back to work on what we're here to do. See the difference between the victimization of having to sit on the sidelines and watch this shit show and know there's solutions, know that you have this power within you, and yet you're hogtied. And then take that victimization thing. See, it's weird because the sheeple and the people who are just going along in their life, everything's fine. We got rid of Trump. It's cool, right? And it's like, whoa, oh shit, and then there's a point that, we know humanity has to, in order for this whole evolution to happen, humanity does have to face the fact that they've been completely controlled and manipulated. But this outward control and manipulation, like going door to door and forcing you to take this thing, that's not waking people up, right? Oh, and so, but we know that in order for humanity to evolve, they've got to face some of these deep, dark truths, right? It's like before you're manipulated and abused, you can't identify as a victim. And of course, victimization doesn't solve anything, but it's a part on the journey to waking up to your potential and your power. So humanity has got to go to the victim place. You're going from victim to empowerment, into that righteous place of like, oh yeah, you think you're going to keep me from this? So it's a really powerful energy, because this grid that I've been talking about, that like as our consciousness is expanded, the control energies have been doing more and more to block out that energy, right? Like what's really going on with chemtrails? They don't want us to have this enlightenment of the sun. GMO foods, fluoride, I mean, you name it, there's just so many ways. And then technology, right? So right now, it's like there's this weird interaction between electromagnetic fields and the V and the jab, all like there's just something, this transhuman agenda to infect us with nanite technology, and then the radiation, vibration, 5G or whatever, microwave, gets that little nanites to line up and become a fiber to take over your own natural neural networks. And so, but this technological grid is falling apart and the light is shining in again. And this astrology is so incredibly beautiful, because we've got the Cancer, 2 elements in Cancer in perfect trine to the 2 elements in Pisces, nurturing us back into spiritual connection. And Jupiter at 1 degree, Pisces, what's it going to take, humanity? You are God incarnated. Stop pretending you're a sheep. Stop playing small. You're about to give it all away, but we're fighting for you. And we have from the day we came into this evolution, because we came out of love and devotion. Do you understand like what you had to go through to get here as an advanced soul? Squeeze yourself into this lower reality and then take this bullshit and then sit on the sidelines? Yeah. And I've gotten the thing of like one supernova soul going full supernova, and it's game over for the control energies. We're sitting on a pot of gold. And that is exactly this Uranus and Taurus. Uranus represents higher technologies, future technologies, ancient wisdom, your higher self. It's like you have access because of your prior experiences. It's been blocked through, you don't even know how much it's been blocked, like implants and all kinds of stuff, right? To keep you from having your antenna to be able to connect direct to source and activate your higher power and find your empowerment. You awake is their greatest fear. So I think we should get on with it, right? And this is the astrology. It's like we've had square, 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 tension, 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 pushed up against the corner. What are we doing? Total confusion. And now it's like, can you take this moment? Can you let it flow? Because we've got these beautiful trines, and Cancer and Pisces, and Jupiter at that 1 degree, cracking back open. If we had our natural, organic, original world, the light floods in. Living is ecstatic. Full expression of life is this whole different experience. And that cannot be held down, right? And this is exactly the path of dis-ease throughout time, trying to hold down humanity. But the human organism is so powerful in our adaptability, and it's throwing off all disease at this point. And so, of course, there has to be an RNA you know, substance that's going to disorder that immune system. Just rewrite your story, right? But I think it might boomerang and rewrite all of our story back to the original plan. This is the energy of these trines and this Venus-Mars conjunction. So Venus-Mars conjunction in Leo, they come together exact tomorrow, the 13th, at 19 degrees. 19 degrees Leo in the Sabian symbols is a houseboat party. And it's kind of interesting because it's got this energy of like coming out of the confines of society and letting your, kind of letting go a little bit, right? And that's exactly what humanity needs to do, is break out of the cage, and it's got the energy of water and it's got the energy of light, right? This celebration. And so it's this picture of the light reflecting on the water. And the flow, these water trines, so sweet, so beautiful. And it's about getting in the flow, but not going to sleep and drowning by the side of the river like we've all been feeling. It's about standing up and being a player, being seen, being present, not in manipulating your own agenda forward, but getting out of our own way, not rolling over and putting our head in the sand, getting out of our own way and steering the ship in the flow of life. So the flow of life, thy will, thy way. And it's like getting out of our own way, but like bringing our attention, intention, and power of our consciousness to that divine timeline. That's like, oh yeah, we're at the point where all the ties come back together. And supernova souls, what if ours is the next card to play? In just day by day, little by little, standing up, being seen as who you are a little bit more in your light, expressing that potential. And it's time for us to get to work on the solutions of the next chapter. And that feels so much better than sitting on the sidelines all alone. So think about it. If the one thing they don't want us to know is how powerful we are, and you have a soul memory of that power and have already worked with that power, no wonder. So this is this, like, you can't heal the victimization until you realize you're a victim. And you might not have realized that the souls that have surrounded you for lifetimes were invested in you never knowing who you are. And it's like game over. And I know so many supernova souls have felt that people have just left their life, and maybe they've come back in different forms, and but it's a very interesting dynamic. And we are having this, like, the gates are opening and inviting us out of our pen, of our smallness. But we also are so used to that. It's been many lifetimes, right? And you feel all alone because there's massive agenda to keep you separate and programming from other powerful souls. Because if you were interacting with other powerful souls, that's exponential soul power. Are you ready for that? Can you handle your own power? Because for thousands of years, they told you can't. And this is where we stand up and say, hey, why would I have it? Because there's something inside of me that is so intense and so powerful, and it's got to come out. It's got to be expressed. This is Venus and Mars coming together. Full permission for full expression. What about that? Instead of all of these energies keeping you from even knowing your bigness, now it's like, come on, we want to see you shine. We're going to celebrate that. And we're going to exponentially expand into our potential and feel better. And come off the sidelines and start playing in the game, in the new game, in the healing game, in the solutions game, in the let's do it now. And that's what this astrology is about. And it's like a breather too. It's like we're still in the ramifications of that 2 months of Mercury retrograde and a whole year of retrograde energy. Venus and Mars coming back together, resolving a whole 14 months of this energy. And now, but we have to sort out what happened, right? it's like we found our way maybe to the end of the maze, or it's a different type of maze now. But Mercury moving into Cancer is like all these emotions. And of course, we've had lots of this energy, but now it's specifically moving energies around what came up over the last 2 months for you, where you've been pushing upstream and trying to make it work for so long against all odds, everything working against you, it feels like, right? And now you're supposed to just put down your paddle and flow with the river. Yeah, because it's the divine timeline landing home. It's the original plan. And you got that God code right in you. But it means that ego death of letting go of everything you thought it was going to look like, and everything, these constructs and contractual relationships. It's like everything you thought you were, your sense of self is based on what you need to be for everybody else, often as a supernova soul. And it's like, well, then who am I? And that's when we go and that God code is revealed. And this is exactly this energy. So it's like the light is shining back through, right? So I was talking about the lower grid and the technological energies being used to create literally a technological grid. And it's been harder and harder over these last years to feel the miracle energy, to feel that synchronicity, that messages, the like connection, a spiritual feeling. They don't want us there. So that's probably where we should go and establish, right? Put a pin down. But what's happening now is this is dismantling, and that light is starting to shine through. And maybe that's part of the role of supernova souls, to receive that light, to awaken that God code, and to stand up and be seen and heard now. And so this is a beautiful energy. So Venus and Mars come together at 19. They're like 18, 19, 20 degrees, very close for these next 3 days. And it's so beautiful. And it's wild because we also have this star configuration I've often talked about, where these planets it's sextiles, 2 degrees apart, 60 degrees. So these are at 10 and 12 degrees. So we've got the South Node at 10 degrees, in Sagittarius, sextile to Saturn at 12 degrees Aquarius, and sextile to Chiron at 12 degrees Aries, and sextile to the North Node. So the whole half of the zodiac is all lining up in that star pattern. Sextiles are creative solutions. So we've got 2 beautiful trines, a conjunction of the masculine and the feminine in this beautiful, exalted experience of inviting us into releasing the confines of life and coming back into the celebration of life force. And that is through creative and full expression of who we really are. Now, this sextile, though, so we've got all those sextiles, those 3 beautiful sextiles, and then we've got a sextile very powerful, between Pluto at 25 degrees Capricorn and Neptune at 23 degrees Pisces. This is as close as the sextile gets, 2 degrees apart, but these players are so big and so powerful. It's an incredible opportunity for us. And maybe keep that in mind over these next days. It's almost like, how do you change gears from retrograde, block, 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 square, 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 blah, blah, blah. This whole year's just been so intense. And now it's like free flow. Come on, step out onto your stage. So it's an interesting energy. But Pluto at 25 Capricorn in sextile, 2 signs over, 60 degrees from Neptune in Pisces. Now, this sextile is forming a yod, which is called the finger of God. And in the astrology chart, when you have a yod, it's destiny. It's about a point of destiny. And where the finger of God points to is this focus. It's like a life focus in your life, a very powerful life focus and a destiny energy. And so as Venus and Mars go through right now, they're at 18, 19, 20, but then they're going to come into this yod. So they have this beautiful conjunction and then taking their turns at the point of the yod. So what's this telling us? So if we look at the yod as this destiny energy, this finger of God into, it's like the finger of God is poking through, right? Reaching down to us, finally feeling the support of spiritual energies back into our life, you know? And the reason why they had to go away, it feels like, is because that lower grid energy, but there's also this energy of so many people who are very spiritual give up their power to like galactic channelings or to anything, right? Any religion, it's all about that. It's about, oh, well, we know and we have the truth and the priests and the hierarchies, right? And so every form of spirituality has this hierarchical thing. And then we give our power away and we're looking for a savior and we're looking for somebody to come and save us, right? But this is the hand of God is reaching down, pointing to our heart here, saying, you, right? That's what, like the true teachings of Yeshua, like, you know, the kingdom of heaven is within you. You don't need to go to church. It can be fun, I guess, but, you know, to celebrate in whatever way, but it's right here within you. You don't need to go seeking or have permission or, you know, and then it's like, can you handle that? Can you step into that? And that's this standing up and being seen in your spiritual truth. So this yod, you can see it as almost like a dowsing rod. And so in the right hand of the dowsing rod is this Neptune in Pisces at 23 degrees. It's as far as Neptune has made it into Pisces. Neptune moves very slow. At home in Pisces, it's speaking to everything about the Piscean age and how we got into this mess. In the lower octave of the Piscean age, which is this control energy, using the oneness principle, using spiritual mystical revelation to control humanity and keep them down, right? Like false God. And that's exactly the energy of the Pluto and Capricorn, is religious structures. So if God is within, we don't need any structures. We got it right here. It's our body, our temple. So very powerful energies, because these planets are speaking to resolving and healing the Piscean age. And that's taking back our power from outside authority structures and connecting back directly to our God source. And again, you can see, Supernova Soul, how you're in a perfect position to lead the way. Okay, so we've got that, like breaking out of false God religious structures and the experience of mystical revelation and oneness, and claiming back that Jupiter at 1 degree Pisces, retrograde. How do we expand back into that spiritual connection? It's ours. And it's our birthright. It's who we are. And you, with that God molecule, are poised perfectly to be an expression of this in the world. Pointing, this yod, pointing, the dowsing rod, coming together, Venus, Mars in Leo. Full expression of the masculine and the feminine in perfect balance, shining, expressing. No more divide and conquer. No more self-hatred. The delusion of separation manifests, and this is something that came through the Edgar Cayce readings again and again. He's like, the most damaging sin is to go against yourself. Self-hatred, and this has like totally been programmed in the supernova soul from low self-worth, programmed in past lives. So it's like constantly beating yourself up. But a great redemption is coming. As we have these deep, dark truths revealed, you're going to see that you've been treating yourself like the devil, and you've been treated like the devil if you were persecuted in the Piscean age, but you're the angel. And when are we going to stop holding this negative karma for the controllers, blaming ourselves when we're the pure God molecule deep inside? And so this yod coming out from false power, God, religious structures, and true experience of mystical spiritual revelation, pointing right to Venus and Mars fully shining, the masculine, the feminine, fully shining. More is more. This is the abundance principle. This is a big part of being a supernova soul. You're so big, you got so much. And yet everybody's told you not to shine. You're making us look bad, right? And how many people of you have like experienced this, like feeling shameful about caring? Like, why do you care? Like, why do you care so much? That's you. Oh, you're so sensitive. You're making them look bad. And so, is this how we're going to go about it? Playing small because we don't want, to disarm or unmask the narcissists? No. Mm-mm. Just like the human body, after layers of disease and disease and disease in the life force, eventually, especially with, like, say, a powerful medicine like classical homeopathy, throws off that disease. And this is where we are on the planet right now. But see, you kind of played out the role in the Piscean age, most likely, of being the disease. You were told you were the disease when you're actually like the light and the healing and a purified soul. So this great redemption is coming, and it's but this yod, this destiny point, right? So how do we get back to spiritual mystical revelation and undo all this programming of the controlling God, the judgmental God that's outside of ourselves, the false God? Is we shine and express our God self, right? Whew. So it's intense. It's like, ooh, I want to get out of victimization. I want to get off the sideline. I want to stand and be heard. I'm so done with this. But wow, this is something that's really interesting as you start doing more intuitive work. And you'll notice that as you go out into certain groups of people or public, we don't even notice it. We do it subconsciously. But generally, we'll turn our light down. And a lot of the pain that supernova souls feel is because you're squeezing yourself smaller to not be seen, to stay safe, to not ruffle any feathers, don't rock the boat. But guess what? It's a houseboat party. So it's time to rock the boat. It's time to drop the shackles and dance free. And that picture of the sun shining and that binary, perfect, balanced solar system of the true mystical ancient cultures always had a male and a female, or those energies, masculine and feminine, in perfect balance as the leadership. There weren't cut and dry roles. But very, very important concept in our spiritual evolution, this divine marriage within and expressing this in soulmate love. This is a huge invitation. If you're an advanced soul, you most likely have set an agenda, or for this lifetime. It's often in the birth chart of supernova souls, a deep desire to work in spiritual partnership. And that is very powerful. And yet, so much blocks supernova souls from coming together. And what happened in Atlantean time and prior times that was very, very suppressed, part of the reason Atlantean catastrophes were about creating trauma and drama, but even more than that, burying the technology in our own bodies under our feeling like we failed and we caused destruction, right? Or total setup, but burying the technology that was being used so humanity could never advance beyond their controllers until now. Because they went too far. They used this technology too far. Now it's completely obvious to those that are awake that alien technologies are in use against us. And it can't go on. It's just too blatant. And you can't have those alien technologies without recognizing we have the power within our body. Like there's this whole med bed thing, right? Maybe you've heard of this med beds, this miracle healing where you can grow back limbs and stuff. It's like alien technology for healing. But the message is that, like, there's still a control energy in that, because it's like you need this outside technology when in fact you as a supernova soul have already taken part and have abilities within you to do miracle healing. And so the fact that you need somebody's permission and you need a device is another control energy. This is exactly the galactic control energies. This is false authority structures where we give our power. And this is where humanity's at. Right now, the galactic councils are still trying to control humanity and manipulate the leaders while saying they're helping, right? And humanity has to go out and beyond to that divine plan, right? The oneness principle, the original plan and the original timeline, right? That's the organic, natural way. The other is mechanically induced manipulation. Which one's going to win? So, incredibly powerful times as we come to this turning point for humanity and recognize that we have the power all along. We, the people, we, the human people, and you especially as an advanced soul with this God code and the soul memory of working on this technological level. Our world, our way. Guess what? No more weather manipulation, right? Optimal. It's outside of agenda. See, the galactic federations are in agenda. If beings are showing up in a body, representing themselves in a body, they have an agenda. Where we're as advanced souls working with humanity through this cycle of evolution, it's about the divine plan. It's outside of agenda. It's the natural flow, the natural way, and that's everything this astrology is speaking to. And that light, Mars and Venus in Leo, shining, expressing human potential in a perfect balance of masculine and the feminine, in this beautiful celebration back to the garden. And then that light reflected on the water, the flow, no more going upstream, right? Let's get out of our own way and be in that divine, optimal, vibrational field that we are resonant with. They wanted to make it so that we weren't. Got us all distorted and twisted and programmed. And so it's a really interesting energy because we're being asked to get out of our own way and let it flow. And that in the past has meant manipulation and control, giving up control, the people around you, not being able to trust. And this is a huge energy of this time. Jupiter at 1 degree Pisces going retrograde is like, where's the faith? But see, faith has meant something outside of you. And now we know we're the God molecule right here. So we have to have faith. This is a big part of the journey for supernova souls, is finding that faith in who you are as a soul because of all you've gone through and you survived and you're here and you're still connected to your silver cord. And you're the living, breathing example of everything we're talking about. And so it's time to express that. And so massive shifts and changes for supernova souls and humanity in general as we get to this place where we can't go any further until we get disclosure, until we get some truth. And yet this technology used against us is a reflection showing us, like maybe the med beds are all about showing us, oh, we can do this. We can do psychic healing. We have power in our body, free energy. We literally could plug our devices right into our own body. And we're paying for electricity and being controlled by the petrodollar. You know, it just can't go on. And you can see it all over the world. They won't show us in the news in the US, but all over the world, people are rising up and saying, no, we're not going to take it. And we're taking our power back. We, the people, have the power. We were manipulated into using it for your lower trauma agenda. It doesn't fit humanity and where humanity's at anymore. It just does not fit. So what are we going to do? Roll over and play dead for a little longer? You know, we've been immobilized. The trauma response is fight, flight, but most often immobilization. This is this Mercury moving into Cancer. All the places where you have remained in the cellular level through all your lifetime experiences and in your energetic field, wherever you've been immobilized and you've stayed immobilized from trauma, that energy has got to move. So it could be emotional, could be just like, wow, just letting those tears flow, letting that frustration come forward, letting it all go down the river and be healed and renewed and baptized back into life again, into God consciousness. And so we're being asked to shine and express that, but also get the F out of the way and be in thy way, thy will, and in that trust. This is our faith. Faith is coming back. And in the Piscean age, at the shift of ages into the Piscean age, that faith was represented by mystical spiritual revelation, direct contact with spiritual energies. But now we got this grid all blocking, and it's all like, it's a mess. So we have to be that mystical revelation. We experience that. You experience that as a soul. If you can listen to this stuff, you were a part of that shift of ages, and it's why you're here now. So you have, it's your opportunity to step out of the immobilization, step out of the victimization. Maybe you didn't realize you were traumatized in past lives, but it finally makes sense. It finally makes sense. The unacknowledged victim. And now you're ready to run with that shit. Because the only real reason that happened to you is because you have this access, this knowledge, this wisdom, this soul memory, and that God code right inside of you. So take us back to the garden, supernova souls. Let's go right here, right now, in our heart and soul with this beautiful Venus-Mars conjunction. Smoky skies here in the West, but it doesn't mean that this isn't still affecting us. And it's a perfect example. It's like, go ahead and block it out, because that perfect union, divine light, is right here, and you can't block it out anymore. And it's ready to radiate and celebrate. Everybody's talking about the trauma and drama we have to go through, the hard times to get over this hump. And it's like, not for supernova souls. It's your time to fly finally and celebrate and feel good and be redeemed. So let's do this. And that finger of God, destiny, how we get out of the trap of the Piscean age is through expressing our God consciousness in perfect balance, in that abundance, more and more. And so let's help each other do that. Reach out beyond the constructs of the isolation and the programming and the brainwashing. Reach out beyond the lower matrix. Reach out to those soul group members energetically that are here, even though we're like been quarantined, right? Reach out to that God consciousness, to that mystical spiritual revelation. Put your present moment in that flow of life, of that feeling of allowing yourself to come back into the faith of God, which is right there in your heart, and flow and trust in the divine plan. And get outside of all agenda, all false authority. I'm not playing. Nobody needs to give you permission. You are the highest form of life and consciousness. They just had you tricked into thinking you weren't. So that means there's nothing for us to wait for. The divine plan is already in motion. Let's just get on that train, get in the flow, get going downstream finally into that celebration. When you have faith, you can let go. So many supernova souls feel this huge responsibility, that secondary abuser, where it's like, I gotta help and I can't help, and I'm just, But what if your best way to help is by shining, expressing, and celebrating? Just being that living, breathing example. So hang in there, have a beautiful week. Use this to your advantage. Like I said, we don't have any squares or oppositions right now. It's like smooth sailing, and take this opportunity to come up, breathe, take care of yourself, rest, a very exhausting time because of all the energy shifts and changes. Let those emotions flow, come out of mobilization, come out of the lock and key that's held your heart into that victimization, immobilized place, and point your vessel forward and let the flow and the way move you as you stand up and be seen. Finally, just a little bit more in who you are. Gradually, we'll help each other through it. It'll be glorious. So I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Use these energies wisely and let's stay connected energetically. Powerful field with our supernova soul connection. So I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.